Could one of China's most beloved on-screen couples be secretly tying the knot? The internet is ablaze with whispers, speculations, and emotional fan theories about Xian and Zi. But is this a real-life romance, or just another fairy tale fans want to believe? Today we're not here to chase drama, we're here to uncover the deeper truth. Because behind every rumor, there's always a story worth telling. It all started with a whisper, quiet, almost unnoticeable, until it wasn't. What began as a single blog post, buried among hundreds of daily entertainment updates, suddenly caught fire. It carried just enough intrigue, just enough ambiguity, and just enough hope to spark the attention of millions. The post claimed, without official sources or evidence, that Xian and Zi had secretly registered their marriage and were preparing for a private wedding. Within hours, the story wasn't just a rumor, it had become a digital phenomenon.
The internet doesn't need proof to believe.
It only needs possibility. And this particular rumor carried the kind of possibility that millions wanted to be true. Screens lit up across Asia and beyond. Fan groups revived dormant threads. Edits, montages, and reaction videos began flooding social platforms. For some, it was wishful thinking. For others, it felt like long-awaited confirmation. But why this story, and why now? Because Xian and Zi represent more than just two actors. They represent a dream that many viewers had quietly carried with them since watching Go Squid. Their on-screen connection had felt real, raw, and profoundly human. To some, it had transcended fiction. So when the blog post surfaced, it wasn't just information, it was emotional ignition. People weren't just reacting to a headline, they were reacting to what it stirred inside them: nostalgia, longing, romantic ideals. They weren't just consuming gossip, they were reaching for something beautiful to believe in. In a world that often feels disconnected and uncertain, the idea that two beloved stars might have found love off-screen felt like a victory for sincerity. Even if it was unverified. Even if it wasn't true. Because sometimes, hope spreads faster than truth, and in that space, stories like this come alive. There are moments in storytelling when the lines between fiction and reality begin to blur, not because the actors forget their acting, but because the audience starts to believe they aren't. That was the magic of Go Squid. When Xian stepped into the role of the emotionally guarded Han Xiangyan and Zi embodied the bright, sincere Tong Nian, something remarkable happened. The story didn't just unfold on screen, it took root in the hearts of millions. Their chemistry wasn't loud or exaggerated, it was quiet, genuine, and profoundly intimate. It felt real. So real, in fact, that it became difficult for many viewers to separate performance from personal truth. What made their connection so believable wasn't just talent, it was timing. The drama aired at a cultural moment when audiences were craving something authentic. The characters' imperfections, their awkward silences, their moments of unspoken care, all of it resonated with people who had loved, waited, or hesitated in their own lives. It was a love story without the gloss, and that vulnerability made it unforgettable. For many fans, the emotional investment didn't end when the final episode aired. Instead, it evolved into quiet hope that perhaps what they saw on screen was a reflection of something off-screen too. They began looking for signs, gestures, subtle glances during interviews. Every smile between Zi and Xian became a thread in a tapestry fans wove together with equal parts affection and imagination. Not out of delusion, but out of longing, for a kind of love that feels safe, familiar, and sincere. This emotional phenomenon, this need to believe in love that transcends scripts, is not uncommon, especially when actors portray relationships that echo real human depth. But in the case of Xian and Zi, the belief became something larger. It turned into a shared story among viewers across countries, languages, and cultures. A collective wish that fiction might, just once, mirror reality. And so, even without confirmation, fans held on. Not just to the characters, but to what they represented. Because sometimes, what draws us in isn't the plot, it's the feeling that maybe, somewhere between the lines, something true existed. Not necessarily romantic, not necessarily forever, but something human. And for many, that was more than enough. At the heart of every celebrity love rumor lies something far more complex than mere curiosity. It touches on the psychology of human longing. When people begin to believe that two actors might be in love off-screen, it's rarely just about the stars themselves. It's about what those imagined relationships awaken within us. In a world that often feels fragmented, rushed, and disconnected, the idea of a sincere, almost serendipitous love, especially between two beloved public figures, becomes deeply comforting. It represents a kind of emotional refuge, a space where something pure still seems possible. With Xian and Zi, this psychological pull is particularly powerful. Their on-screen connection didn't just tell a love story, it embodied one. It mirrored the small unspoken moments that people often cherish in their own lives. The look that lingers, the hesitation before confession, the subtle tenderness that says more than words ever could. For viewers who may have loved quietly or lost deeply, their portrayal offered something healing. And when performance reaches that level of emotional recognition, it's no longer just entertainment. It becomes personal. Fantasy, in this context, is not about naivety or escapism. It is, more often, an emotional survival mechanism. Believing that love like that could exist in real life gives people something to hold on to, a thread of optimism in uncertain times. It is not always about wanting to control the lives of the stars involved. Sometimes, it's simply about needing to believe that the love we yearn for can be real for someone somewhere. And if it can happen for them, maybe, just maybe, it can happen for us too. Yet within this desire lies a quiet danger, the blurring of fiction and truth. The human brain is wired to connect emotionally to stories, and when a performance moves us deeply, we struggle to detach it from reality. That's when the fantasy takes root, subtle, powerful, and often unconscious. But as much as it says something about celebrities, it says even more about us. We are emotional beings, forever searching for connection. In celebrity relationships, real or imagined, we glimpse reflections of our own hopes, dreams, and needs. And while it's important to remain grounded, it's equally important to acknowledge the very real human longing behind these fantasies. Because sometimes, what we believe reveals not what we know, but what we deeply need to feel. In an age where speed outweighs substance and headlines are consumed faster than they're verified, truth has become increasingly vulnerable to manipulation. Celebrity rumors, especially those involving love and relationships, are not just accidental misunderstandings or innocent fan theories. More often, they are carefully manufactured narratives, crafted with precision by those who understand how to turn emotion into engagement. Behind every viral rumor lies a system, a network of bloggers, content creators, and opportunists who know exactly how to exploit the human need for connection, fantasy, and escape. These rumors rarely originate from credible newsrooms or official statements. Instead, they're often born on third-party content platforms, where editorial standards are low and accountability is almost non-existent. Posts published under entertainment sections are given just enough legitimacy through association with reputable domains, while carrying none of the journalistic integrity. A single vague line, sources say or rumor has it, is often all it takes to spark a wildfire of speculation. Because in the digital economy, attention is currency, and emotion is the most powerful form of capital. Creators who push these stories understand how to craft narratives that feel true, even when they are not. They borrow the credibility of known names, insert emotionally charged language, and often rely on fan sentiment to do the rest. Once a rumor taps into an existing emotional investment, like the one fans have in Xian and Zi, it spreads almost effortlessly. Not because people are gullible, but because they are human. They want to believe. They need something beautiful, even if it isn't real. But the consequences are real. Manufactured rumors can deeply affect the mental health of public figures, tarnish reputations, and even damage careers. What starts as entertainment quickly turns invasive, and those who profit from these stories rarely face consequences. Meanwhile, the actors at the center are left with silence as their only defense, navigating the fine line between public persona and private life. Understanding how these narratives are constructed is the first step toward resisting their pull. It calls for empathy, not only toward the people at the heart of the rumors, but also toward ourselves, as consumers of media. The stories we choose to believe say something about who we are and what we value. Truth, especially in the digital age, must be sought actively. Because when illusion becomes habit, reality begins to lose its voice. To date, neither Xian nor Zi has commented publicly. Their agencies have remained silent as well. Some fans take this as proof. If they deny it, it must be true. If they stay quiet, it must be real. But silence is often not a confirmation, it's a boundary. These actors are professionals, with careers to protect and lives to live. And sometimes, choosing not to respond is a way of saying, this isn't even worth our energy. While fans dissect blurry airport photos and vague blog posts, here's what Xian and Yang Zi are actually doing. Movie camera Yang Zi is currently filming a high-budget historical drama, playing a fierce, intelligent female lead. Film Frames Xian just signed onto a suspense thriller film, a huge step into more serious international cinema. They're not preparing for a wedding, they're preparing for next-level roles. Instead of obsessing over whether they're together, what if we asked a better question? What does this rumor say about us as fans? Maybe what we really want isn't confirmation of their love life. Maybe what we crave is a connection, a story that reminds us love is real, possible, and beautiful. So instead of pushing fantasy onto their real lives, let's celebrate the emotions they helped us feel. Let's admire their craft, not just the characters. So what's really going on? Here's the truth. There is no verified evidence that Xian and Yang Zi are married, or even romantically involved. There is only silence, speculation, and a sea of fan-created stories. But there is something real. Their talent, their respect for privacy, and the lasting impact of their on-screen connection. Let that be enough. If this video gave you something to think about, whether you're a die-hard fan or just love good stories, please give it a like, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. Sparkles. This channel, News Stars Xian, is all about bringing you thoughtful, inspiring takes on your favorite stars, without the noise, without the gossip. Your support keeps us going. So hit that notification bell, and let's keep this journey going, together. Movie Camera. See you in the next story. Much love, and thanks for watching.